The KXAN News Podcast is sponsored by Shelf Genie. Live from KXAN, this is a severe weather alert from the First Warning Weather Center.
And severe thunder watches and warnings in effect for areas throughout central Texas. Thanks for joining us. I'm Daniel Marin.
And I'm Britt Moreno. So it is time to think about your vehicle and a safe place to park. Check out this photo Paula Fielder sent us of hail out of Leander tonight. That's a pretty good picture, Paula. But storms this evening could be capable of producing hail larger than a baseball. And some areas could also see wind gusts up to 75 miles per hour. Chief Meteorologist David Yeomans is tracking the timing of this severe weather threat. David.
Good evening, guys. The severe thunderstorm watch for the potential of storms as intense as you just noted is in effect for everyone in our viewing area until 10 p.m. And this is really important. The NOAA weather radio service in our area does not work right now. The New Braunfels Weather Service office unintentionally had their fiber line cut. That controls their phones and also all NOAA weather radio signals. So if you rely on a weather radio for your warnings, tonight is not the night. You need to download our KXAN weather app. That will still work for you tonight, okay? Here we are on the radar. Lots going on, especially to the north and now in the hill country to the south as well. We're watching one storm intensifying over Wimberley. Not severe right now, but it is lifting northward into a right now quiet Travis County eventually. In the northern hill country, though, this is where the main event is transpiring, and this will be moving southward after this. San Saba County, a flash flood warning, a severe thunderstorm warning in Lampasas County. We just got word from our newsroom that the San Saba jail, which was built in 1883, is experiencing flooding right now, and they've had to move some inmates to higher ground and to drier rooms. We've had 2 inches of rain in San Saba. That water is going into the Colorado River, which is wonderful, but please do not drive through a water-covered road in that area tonight. In Lampasas, this is the hail core that we're watching moving eastward on 183 toward Lampasas. You guys need to be indoors. Get your vehicle under cover now if it is possible to do so. In the southern hill country, a new severe thunderstorm warning from Fredericksburg westward on 290. The storm itself is still south of Gillespie County, closer to Kerrville. That warning is in effect for about another 30 minutes. And the hail, we're watching it kind of drift northeastward. We'll have to see if this warning might be adjusted in the next 20 minutes. Coming up, I'll show you the radar through the rest of the evening, when your storm window begins and closes, and more rain coming through the weekend and beyond.
David, thank you so much. Tonight, thousands of families are picking up the pieces after a string of overnight storms that targeted the middle of the country.
The worst of the damage was in Oklahoma, near the Cole and Dibble area south of Oklahoma City. As Jay Gray reports, that's where at least 3 people were killed and the severe weather moved in.
Debris stretches for miles, neighborhoods left in ruins. Every building on the campus of Oklahoma Baptist University damaged during overnight storms.
Last night, OBU campus experienced the worst natural disaster in its 113-year history.
Oh, that's a tornado.
A string of as many as 8 tornadoes ripping across Oklahoma. The storms killing 3, 2 of those victims in Cole, the small town on the outskirts of Oklahoma City.
Complete chaos. You know, we walked outside, trees everywhere. There's metal everywhere. Just everything's, just destroyed.
Power lines and trees pulled down as the system pushed across Iowa and Kansas as well. A day later, the extent of the damage still unclear.
These rural areas are spread out on dirt roads, on gravel roads, and it makes searching very tedious, meaning we have to go from place to place and walk up driveways and things like that to search these areas.
A process that will take days, while the cleanup and recovery for those hardest hit will take much longer. Jay Gray, NBC News.
Well, we have some breaking news right now out of the Austin airport where an airline worker died this afternoon. KXAN's Nabil Ramadna has been working to find out more. He is live at the airport. Nabil.
Well, details are limited at this time, but what we do know so far is that first responders arrived at about 2 p.m. for a person with traumatic injuries on the tarmac. Now, the cause of death at this time has not been announced. We do know that this was an employee with American Airlines. The airport tells me that the incident did not impact airport operations, no cancellations or major delays. We are working to get more information. Once we have that, we'll be sure to update you here. But as mentioned, right now, very few details. Reporting live at the airport, Nabil Ramadna, KXAN News.
The SpaceX giant New Starship rocket exploded minutes after blasting off from Boca Chica Beach on its first test flight today. Elon Musk's company was aiming to send Starship on a round-the-world trip from the southern tip of Texas. The biggest and most powerful rocket ever built carried no people or satellites. Starship is ultimately what SpaceX plans to use to send people and cargo to the moon and ultimately to Mars.
Well, back home, Round Rock police say they have identified a suspect connected to 2 bomb threats reported at the same home within 24 hours. Neighbors had to evacuate both nights. Police did not name the suspect, nor did they say whether they will face any charges.
The Austin City Council voted today to move toward transitioning to low carbon concrete for future city construction projects. So it is now up to the city manager to try to develop a plan. City staff will review and approve alternative mixed designs proposed by local concrete producers.
Lawyers for Alec Baldwin say the charges stemming from the deadly on-set shooting of Rust cinematographer Halyna Hutchins have been dropped. Baldwin was rehearsing with a pistol for a scene when the gun went off, killing Hutchins and wounding director Joel Sousa. The actor had been charged with involuntary manslaughter. Baldwin will resume work on Rust this week.
The CEO of MyPillow must pay $5 million to a Nevada software developer. An arbitration panel is ordering Mike Lindell to do just that. The developer entered Lindell's Prove Mike Wrong challenge to try to challenge his 2020 election fraud claims. That was the prize offered by Lindell in a contest during a cyber symposium. In a 23-page ruling, the panel said the developer, quote, proved the data Lindell LLC provided and represented reflected information from the November 2020 election, unequivocally did not reflect November 2020 election data.
In our nation's capital today, the Republican-led House passed a bill that would ban transgender athletes from playing women's and girls' sports in federally funded schools. Bree Jackson has more on the bill. The White House has already said the president would veto.
The debate over transgender athletes playing sports has come to Capitol Hill.
Female athletes who sacrificed so much for their sport are being pushed out of athletics.
Macy Petty, a college volleyball player, joined House Republicans who are pushing to amend Title IX and ban biological males from playing sports designated for women or girls.
It's about fairness.
It is a winning issue across America, standing up for the future of women and girls.
The measure applies to federally funded schools. Democrats criticize the GOP, saying the focus should be on issues like protecting students from gun violence.
This is Republican culture wars going into our classrooms from Washington, D.C.
Similar bills have already passed several Republican-led states. I spoke with Minna Zelch, parent of an 18-year-old transgender softball player.
What concerns do you have seeing your child go through this?
The attacks feel absolutely relentless, and we're all exhausted.
Advocates say federal anti-trans legislation would have a devastating effect on mental health and other areas.
The message it's sending to people that it's okay, that these kids are not real humans. They're subhuman is the message that it sends.
Republicans argue their goal is to level the playing field. Democrats say the GOP is targeting an already vulnerable community. In Washington, Bree Jackson, NBC News.
Austin ISD students have racked up $14,000 in school lunch debt this school year. Just ahead, who just announced they're paying all of it.
The Austin Police Department promised to change how it handles sex assault cases. Well, 5 months later, we're checking in to see how that's going.
And how to get your share of a $725 million class action settlement with Facebook.
13 years ago today, an explosion on the Deepwater Horizon oil rig in the Gulf of Mexico killed 11 workers and led to the largest oil spill in U.S. history. The rig, leased by BP Oil Company, sat about 41 miles off the coast of Louisiana in waters almost 5,000 feet deep. The concrete core installed by contractor Halliburton meant to seal the well failed. Now, the rig eventually sank and an estimated 4 million barrels leaked into the Gulf before the well could be capped. The oil slick extended over more than 57,000 square miles of the Gulf, impacting beaches in several states, including Texas.
In Austin, church will pay off all school lunch debts at Austin ISD for the rest of the school year. Covenant Presbyterian Church will be paying off $14,000 to do that. It is also donating another $10,000 to cover future lunch debt. And this is part of the church's yearly tradition of giving back to the community.
No children are going to have lunch debt for the entire school year, and we are so grateful for the opportunity to do this. It's such a tangible way for us to show the city of Austin the depths of the love of God.
The church has done some other great work in past years, like paying off medical debts and supporting services for those experiencing homelessness.
The number of Americans falling behind on their car payments is surging. The severely delinquent rate is the highest it's been since 2009, pretty much during the recession. In Detroit, repossession companies say they've seen their caseload triple. They blame a perfect storm of inflation, high interest rates, and tightening budgets. Ahead on NBC Nightly News, why economic experts say this could be a sign, of harder times to come.
All right, let's look together now at a live stream from our storm chaser in the field, Jeff Mangum. He is in extreme western Williamson County, heading into Burnett County. This in the distance is the severe thunderstorm producing considerable hail in Lampasas County. You can see he's positioning himself for even better views. Stay with us as we track tonight's severe storm and flash flood threat.
This KXAN News podcast is brought to you by Shelf Genie. I'm Rosie Newberry from KXAN Studio 512. Considering replacing your kitchen cabinets? Struggling to find or reach things? Go to shelfgenie.com/Austin. Shelf Genie designs custom pull-out shelves for your existing cabinets, adding convenience and value to the most used room in your home. Shelf Genie custom pull-out shelves, everything in reach.
Today, Austin city leaders issued a proclamation about Sexual Assault Awareness and Prevention Month. Now, this as the police department continues to make changes to the way it handles these types of cases.
5 months ago, a report detailed problems in the department, but in that time, what's improved? KXAN's Sarah Alshe gets an update from the Austin Police Chief and a city council member.
Back in 2022, this Police Executive Research Forum, or PERF report, came out. 182 pages evaluating APD's handling of sexual assaults reported to the department from 2012 to 2020. It found a variety of things, like interviews with victims, suspects, and witnesses were often delayed or not happening at all. And at times, detectives couldn't get video evidence or take victims to and from interviews because they didn't have enough vehicles. But what's being done about it?
Continues to be a priority for us. We're moving forward on all the measures that came out in the PERF report.
Austin Police Chief Joseph Chacon says he doesn't have an updated list of improvements that have been made yet, but that there are some in progress. One of them being the number of vehicles for the Sex Crimes Unit. A recommendation in the report was to have an assigned vehicle for each detective.
And something that we put into this year's budget is to get them more vehicles.
Chacon says while the request is in, they're running into some issues.
The vendors that we purchase from, whether that's Ford or Chevy or whoever, we're having problems with delivery.
Austin Councilmember Allison Alter says her office is in charge of overseeing that APD makes these needed changes. At the moment, she says she isn't satisfied with how fast the process is going, but that she understands the department is still in a constructive phase, combing through the report carefully.
They are working to build all of the strategies to move forward productively and constructively.
Sarah Alshe, KXAN News.
Back in early 2017, Austin police reported a backlog of more than 4,000 DNA kits from sexual assault cases dating as far back as the 1990s. And since then, the department says it has worked through those cases, clearing the backlog in 2018. And just today, Police Chief Joseph Chacon says they're still all caught up.
First warning weather with Chief Meteorologist David Yeomans.
Hey, good news off the top from the National Weather Service. Just got word from New Braunfels that they have repaired their phone lines, which means your NOAA weather radio should be operational now. Weather app, of course, from KXAN can do the same thing anytime, even if they do have more problems. East of I-35, no need for the weather radio quite yet. Quiet in the Austin area. We had a thunderstorm near Wimberley moving up into Austin, but this has weakened, just bringing some rain. No hail threat at this time as it moves into Buda, Driftwood, and South Austin eventually. In the hill country, though, here it is. The cold front is starting to make progress, and this, which has dropped 2 inches of rain, prompting flash flood warnings in San Saba and is producing hail and wind in Lampasas. This is what's eventually coming to your neighborhood a little bit later this evening. In Lampasas, we're a little concerned with all this lightning, some hail being picked up, moving east of town, and now with that bow shape, we are more concerned with damaging wind gusts. You see this bright green on 190 east of Lampasas. This is moving toward Copperas Cove, where we've already had some small hail reports. Wind gusts with these storms could reach hurricane force. Not necessarily the case here, but that's what the atmosphere is capable of tonight. As for the hail, fortunately, the hail core which moved through Lampasas is weakening, but we've got another little hail core there east near Cove. Lots to watch on the radar. These things are evolving very quickly. Speaking of which, we did have an adjustment to the shape and size of this severe thunderstorm warning. No longer includes Fredericksburg, but we could see this changed again. We actually have a considerable hail threat with this. We had observed golf ball size hail just as it crossed over Interstate 10 south of Gillespie County. Looks like the hail core is weakening, but we could see an intensification again. Hail, let's not forget, is a really dangerous thing. The ping pong golf ball size hail that we've already seen south of Gillespie County, that falls straight down from the sky at up to 40 miles an hour. And if we do get the baseball size or higher hail that the atmosphere is capable of producing, that's like a pitcher throwing a fastball at your head. Certainly do not want to be outdoors if we see storms like that materialize. Keep any animals inside as well if that's appropriate to do. Here we are in Texas. This is all part of a big winding storm up in the northern plains. We've got severe thunderstorm and tornado watches from Mexico to Chicago. Here we are in central Texas as the cold front sparks some storms, and we have some discrete development ahead of it. That's why we have some isolated storms right now in Austin, but the main event still to come. Everybody in our area in a 2 out of 5 threat of seeing scattered severe storms through the rest of the evening. Through about midnight, we're not as concerned with tornadoes. Some localized flooding is possible, but here are the main concerns. Baseball-size hail or larger with the strongest storms. And as I mentioned, hurricane force 75-mile-per-hour wind gusts possible as well. So this computer model is our best in these situations. It's updated every single hour, and it's done quite well so far. Here we are at 5 p.m., a couple isolated storms here and there, the main event in the northern hill country. I'll take you hour by hour. We'll watch how this evolves. 6 p.m. Couple storms could intensify along I-35, but the main event is chugging southward through the hill country. By 7 o'clock, really nasty storms moving from Burnett and Bertram into northwestern Williamson County. By 8 o'clock, we've got a more robust line of severe thunderstorms moving toward the metro. 9 o'clock, it's in Austin. 10 o'clock, still rocking Travis County all the way down to Blanco and up through Rockdale and Cameron. 11 o'clock, the storms start to wind down in Austin as they move through our eastern counties. After midnight, this will all wind down from west to east, and by tomorrow morning, just an isolated rain shower on our way to a dry Friday afternoon. We could get an isolated 1 to 3 inch total where you live. There's even a minor threat of some flash flooding if these storms set up over you for an extended period of time. Tonight's forecast, storms likely, then some fog by morning, lows reaching 62. Tomorrow, quick shower early, but a beautiful day. North winds keeping us at 82. Don't get used to the calm weather. Rain returns late Saturday evening with a risk of strong storms, a rainy, cooler Sunday, then another risk of severe weather on Tuesday.
Well, if your gas tank is running low, you may be in for a not so nice surprise. Just ahead, how much gas prices have gone up in just the past month.
Well, if you have filled up your gas tank recently, you may have noticed gas prices have been rising at a pretty steady clip. The statewide average is now the highest it's been in about 7 months. AAA says in the Austin-San Marcos area, we're averaging $3.34 a gallon, and that's 28 cents more than a month ago. But a year ago, we paid $3.71 a gallon. That is 37 cents more per gallon. And with summer driving season just around the corner, AAA says it is unlikely prices will decrease by much anytime soon.
The Wall Street Journal reports that Bed Bath & Beyond may be preparing to file for bankruptcy. It says the retailer may file for Chapter 11 within days. The company recently said it needed to raise $300 million from stock sales by April 26th in order to stay out of Chapter 11. And it warned if it couldn't do that, it would have to file for bankruptcy and likely liquidate its stores.
If you have had a Facebook account in the last 15 years, here's how to get your cut of a $725 million settlement. Meta Platforms is settling a class action lawsuit accusing it of giving political consulting firm Cambridge Analytica and others access to private user data. Any Facebook person who had an active account between May of 2007 and December of last year may be eligible to receive a portion of this. Now, you can submit a claim online by August 25th. You can find out how to file one at our website, kxan.com/newscast.
Tonight on KXAN, you can catch up on Law and Order. We have the original at 7, Special Victims Unit at 8, and Organized Crime at 9, before we're back with KXAN News at 10.
Thanks for listening to KXAN News Nightly. You can also listen to KXAN News Today every morning for more in-depth coverage of what matters most to you.